The DJI Mavic 4 Pro is here with triple lens, triple sensors, nighttime obstacle avoidance with a return of LiDAR, onboard memory of up to 512 gigabytes and peak video resolution of 6K 60 frames per second HDR. The drone is feature-packed. Something different for a prosumer drone release in the UK, with changing drone rules coming in 2026, is that shortly we'll even be able to fly the drone in a useful way. Coming up today, hear my views on my experience flying the drone, watch a chat with producer Will comparing the drone to the Mavic 3 Pro, and of course footage directly from the drone. This is a very Geeksvana review and we hope you enjoy it.
I was left to my own devices. Many days fell away with no...
DJI drones, especially the larger drones in the range, anything above sub 250 really, hit a little bit different in terms of launches here in the UK, because really drones like the DJI Air 3S are now the incredible DJI Mavic 4 Pro. It's a little bit limited in terms of where you can actually fly the drone in terms of getting close to people and in congested areas. It might surprise Geeksvana's US viewers that actually you need special certification to fly something like the Mavic 4 Pro in congested areas, so even villages, towns and certainly cities. At the moment you have to keep 50 meters horizontally away from uninvolved people, which I know to our US viewers previously on our raw videos seems a little bit strange, doesn't it? But certainly this time with this release we have some rule changes coming in 2026 that could unlock drones like the Air 3S, and this Mavic 4 Pro will be able to fly within 5 meters of uninvolved people with just an A2 CFC. Now we're trying to do a slightly different review today. There's lots of videos out there of course which are going to give you the full spec lists, going to give you every single detail possible about this drone. You may well have seen a few of those already. I know I will be sitting down to watch them as this video goes out, so I'm looking forward to them. But today I'm trying to give you more of an experience look in terms of actually using the drone, some opinions on that side of things, but also in a few minutes I'll be sitting down with our very own producer Will to talk about the Mavic 4 Pro. I pulled him in not just to help with the behind the scenes filming etc this time, but actually also to talk about the Mavic 4 Pro, because he flies the Mavic 3 Pro pretty much on a daily basis at the moment, so his input is something that I really wanted to get. So the larger drones, the largest DJI drones, and yes, I would count this just over 1 kilogram Mavic 4 Pro as a larger DJI drone, certainly here in the UK where we're obsessed with sub 250 gram drones. These don't get the level of excitement, but that is about to change. As I was saying, come 2026 with an A2 CFC, you'll be able to fly within 5 meters of uninvolved people with this drone. That's it. That's within congested areas, within cities, etc. Obviously, all of the other rules still apply, such as airspace and everything else like that. So first up, what was it like to fly? One of the things that I noticed with the Air 3S launch, which was even more so prevalent when flying the Mavic 4 Pro, is basically the fact that you have stronger V-loss. Now, obviously, we all got a little bit obsessed with the sub 250 gram drones here in the UK, but with the Air 3S and the Mavic 4 Pro, we have the downward light. So they are not only larger aircraft with more visible props when they're spinning as well in the sky, but that downward light helps with V-loss as well. So you're able to see this drone a lot further away, a lot higher up than the sub 250 gram mini drones. Now to date, my absolute favorite in terms of drone in the air and controlling it has to be the DJI Air 3S. Regular viewers of the channel will know I'm slightly obsessed with that drone. But the Mavic 4 Pro is very steady and it seems very reliable up there. I don't find it to be 100% as stable in the wind and that type of thing as the Air 3S. Obviously it is a heavier, larger drone and you have a very different profile in terms of the gimbal this time, which is obviously out the front there, a little bit more exposed and certainly much larger. So its wind profile is a little bit different, and of course it is heavier. But so far I found it very easy to fly. One of the things I love about this drone is that you can set it all up. In fact, mine came this way out of the box, but you can set it all up to turn on as you unfold things. So when you have your lovely attractive DJI shoulder bag that we're all now getting so used to getting, it's a really good quality product, you can pull out your controller and it will turn on within just a few seconds. Literally, you pull it up and it turns on. And that's the same with the drone. The similar way to the flip when that came out. When you unfold the arms, it will turn on as well. That means, including satellites, etc., you're up in the air within about 30 to 60 seconds, depending, of course, if you are getting the satellites cold or if you've been flying elsewhere that day. Of course, that does make it a little bit quicker. One of the things I love about the controller as well is the fact that you don't have to take the sticks off. As you close the screen, the sticks actually fold away automatically, which I think is really, really nice. Also, I found the controller is kind of, if you look at it here, it's kind of one of those setups that we all used to try to get with things like even the Mavic Air 1 and even the old Inspires, where we would have the mount attached to the controller to then allow us to have a tablet on top. Well, this 2000 nit screen is very bright and it's in a very natural position. One of the things I do love about it, though, is the fact that it doesn't want to topple. It doesn't feel top heavy. Obviously, when you're putting something together with aftermarket mounts and that type of thing like we used to with the controllers, you would end up with quite a heavy tablet on top, and the controller, even in a lanyard, would want to move around an awful lot. You don't have that issue here. You've also got a range of new programmable buttons on the controller, which is awesome, including the little wheel here, which I've currently got set up for exposure. Now, one of the things that I think is interesting is, of course, this infinity gimbal and the fact that this gimbal can keep on going, basically. Now, I've had a good play with the gimbal, but I'm not sure, because for me, it feels like something that might actually be best done in post. There is obviously an advantage of knowing you've got the exact shot that you want while you're out on field, and I'm sure to save editing it might be good as well. Personally, with the image moving around like that, I think it does start to bring some operational decisions into it, but personally, I prefer to do it in post, but I'm sure it's going to be very, very popular from that point of view. One of the highlights, one of the things I absolutely love about this, and we'll show it on screen now as well, is when you flip the screen, the gimbal will actually switch to vertical shooting automatically. And I've got to say, that's pretty damn cool. There is something about shooting in pure vertical, which of course a lot of people are going to love about this drone. Now, the drone that we have been playing with is the Creator bundle. So this one has the 512 gigabytes of onboard storage. Now that's incredible. We do have an SD card at the back to be able to back up anything else in terms of should you use that up, or perhaps you want to actually operate off SD cards in terms of being able to move it around. But actually, one important part with this drone is that the Bluetooth and the USB port are able to be awake whilst the drone is actually switched off. So things like transferring when you're actually on the move, coming back from a shoot, between shoots, that type of thing is more than possible. It's worth also mentioning that there is, of course, a link in the description. It's an affiliate link should you wish to buy this drone. That comes from DJI Hasselblad UK, who are the awesome people that provide us our drones. Thank you, guys. And of course, it's UK stock, which also means that you can go along to their Birmingham and London stores and actually have a play with these in person and ask questions, etc., from their expert teams before you buy. Okay, so you've heard his voice before, and you may, if you're a channel member, you may well have seen his face as well. But this is producer Will.
Hello, yes.
So you've been with the channel for, crikey, is it coming up for a couple of years?
I think
now?
it is almost 2 years now, yes.
But one of the reasons why I actually wanted to talk to you about this drone as well is because your own fledgling drone career with your A2 CFC, and of course you're using the Mavic 3 Pro, which this drone is going to be replacing. You're obviously using that a lot,
yes,
in terms of content and getting out there. So it'll be interesting to get your opinion. It's interesting with all the leaks because there's a lot of information out there.
Yes.
And there is sometimes a disconnect between what a leak says and what that actually means in terms of use of the drone, of course. And some of the leaks have been talking about the fact that obviously we have essentially the same sensors, the same sensor sizes between the 4 and the 3, which doesn't sound too exciting. But of course, we do have slightly different lens setup on this, and there is the capability of 6K at 60 frames a second HDR.
Which is just absolutely mind-blowing. I think I go back to sort of maybe even just pre-COVID times when I was just getting into sort of Sony cameras, and the fact you could shoot 4K was a big deal. And people were yearning for 4K 60. Now we're as far past that. It's something that you can fly in a
consumer prosumer drone. It's pretty cool, isn't it? Now, there is obviously there is the issue that we're not getting a cine model, and that means as well that we're not getting ProRes. And I know a lot of people love shooting in ProRes.
Yeah, great format.
Because again, obviously, so many used on the professional side of things would say they need the ProRes. So it's going to be interesting to see how it does in terms of replacing the ProRes Mavic 3 Pro, Cine in particular. Although, as I say, I do think the 6K does help. Now, we have the infinity gimbal, which obviously, so this gimbal can keep on spinning and keep on spinning, but it does also mean that we have true vertical video.
Yeah, which is actually quite in demand. Let's be honest. I think what's the benefits here is, say you're shooting 6K wide. Arguably, for me, that's enough resolution to be able to crop into a vertical video.
Yeah.
So for me, I have more coverage filming wide and cropping afterwards. So, however, for larger productions, there are features, there are bits of content now which are spending lots of money and just dedicating, if you know you're only going to be outputting a vertical export by the end of it.
That's right. And of course, you do have the ability.
Oh my goodness, that's the first time I've seen that.
I hadn't shown Will that
you save that. Wow. So they are serious then about the vertical aspect of it.
But just little things like that. I absolutely love that. Just being able to turn the screen round, and now you can see obviously the vertical video full screen. One of the other things I love about this controller is, of course, the sticks automatically.
No need to. I have to say, so a lot of the shoots I go on are on a construction site in the middle of a field, and having the sticks on the back, I have to wear PPE.
Yeah.
So those come out, they drop into a puddle of mud. It's not
It
particularly great.
is
so that is a small detail, but
so obviously we have 10-bit D-Log, HLG. So it's obviously for pro color grading. So that is good from that point of view as well.
And just a quick touch point on that. I think that's when you really start diving into a bit more of the technicals and post-processing with 10-bit and log formats. But so essentially, more of a pro feature. But that does allow for better dynamic range. So if you're shooting day or night, you're allowed to recover more highlights or more shadows. So again, a great feature. It's in multiple models, but it's something they constantly improve.
Yeah, and you just have to keep coming back to the 6K as well, don't you? And obviously we've played with our first 6K.
How much data can they give
files?
you?
Yeah, exactly. And obviously we've got the 422 encoding as well in terms of color, which obviously is going to help as well. It is still, I understand, it's still going to be a trigger point in terms of ProRes. And for people that I don't use ProRes myself in much at all. So for those people out there who do use it and need it for client work, it's going to be very interesting to see how they cope.
Yeah, a lot of people
crosses over.
Workflows are baked into that. Very good for proxies.
Yes.
They're really quick at making proxies.
Incredible. Yeah.
And just good file efficiency.
Yeah. Now, one of the other things as well, the infinity gimbal, we'll see how much that gets used. We're going to see a bit like this sort of tiny town type effects and some of the effects that get popular with drones. I think we're going to see a lot of gimbal spinning stuff when this drone is released for a little while. But whether that dies down, whether that's more of a gimmick or not, but actually having this exposed large gimbal at the front there, creating that infinity gimbal, one of the good things you've got from that is a 70-degree upward.
So what about the weight? How it looks?
It's just over 1 kilogram.
Right. Yeah.
But it's if you pick the beast up, it feels heavy. Now, of course, in terms of regulation-wise, there is a separate video coming on the channel for that. But this is a C2 aircraft. So next year, 2026, you're going to be able to fly this within 5 meters of uninvolved people with an A2 CFC. One of the things I love about the fact that we've got these changes coming up, and there's lots of changes, remote ID, lots of negativity, which I completely agree with. But the Air 3S being able to now fly over people, this within 5 meters. But the other benefit of it, of course, these are larger drones and their VLOS is so much better. So we're not losing it like the Mini 4 drones in 60, 70 meters.
Yeah,
exactly. Now we have lots of obstacle avoidance.
I did notice that as I picked it up.
It's sort of like there's lots of eyes all over, which is really interesting. But of course, that gives us what's basically being called Lux Nightscape omnidirectional sensing. And that is with forward facing LiDAR as well, which basically means, and the claim is, I haven't tested this yet because I don't want to crash it while we're making our initial content, but the claim is that you are basically able to fly this in near pitch black conditions.
with obstacle avoidance.
Flight time is claimed to be around 51 minutes,
Oh,
which
wow.
is just
Yeah.
that's incredible, isn't it? Really. One of the other things actually, which is fantastic about this drone, particularly the creator version with all of this memory on board, is the fact that it's got an 80 meg Wi-Fi 6 transfer speed.
Wow.
Which is pretty good
Yeah.
if you're out in the field.
Yeah, yeah.
The other part I love about it is the USB port and Bluetooth is awake or wakeable without powering the drone on.
Oh, that confused me so many times when I first got my Mavic 3 Pro Cine.
Yeah.
I plugged it in. I was like, what? I was like, I'm not turning it on indoors in the
Yeah,
office.
that's right. Yeah.
And then now
Yeah.
that's obviously what you have to do.
We haven't had the gap between that we had between the Mavic 2 and the Mavic 3. So the Mavic 4 has come along a lot quicker in the life cycle. But one of the things that has been extremely popular, of course, is this RC2 controller, which, as you say, are the sticks in the
Yes.
back, etc. And it's fantastic. I can't remember the last time I had to attach my phone to a controller or anything else like that. It helps from the point of view that I don't have to have an extra app on my phone or lock my phone when I'm flying.
Good battery life as well.
Yeah. I love this controller. I absolutely adore this controller, and the fact that you can fly so many aircraft with it as well is just super. I found it to work really well in bright sunshine, everything else like that. I don't really have too many faults. It's got different buttons on the controller as well for you to be able to use. I've got one of them hooked up to exposure.
It's not like it's going to go toppling over.
Yeah,
that
no,
way, is it?
no,
It
no,
does feel
exactly,
pretty good in the hand.
exactly. It feels well balanced, but yeah, absolutely.
Something I'm quite interested in, and I'm sure we'll do some close-ups, is all the ports along the bottom now.
Yeah.
So yeah, full HDMI, Type-C, which is obviously for the charging, and then you've got the memory there as well. You've also got some little connector points there. Is that for like maybe harnesses or things?
Yes,
or,
yes,
right.
exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's moved on. I mean, we had the harness points on the RC2 as well. But yeah, it's moved on in terms of port access. I quite like the fact as well that when it's switched on, when you close it, it goes to sleep. It doesn't turn off, but it goes to sleep. So then you're able to put this down somewhere, and all you've got to do is tap the screen, and it will wake up again, basically, which I think is just so clever from the point of view of being able to, put the controller down but not turn everything off. Obviously, we're lucky enough to get this tech sent to us, which is fantastic. Thank you to DJI Hasselblad UK. There are links in the description, of course. Is there enough here, in your opinion, as a Mavic 3 Pro user, to upgrade automatically to it? I don't know whether it's
that's a good question.
There's a killer thing.
Is there a killer thing on it? I think it really might depend on the business. You compare it to like a commercial vehicle. Some companies out there can update it every year, regardless. They just want the newest, just for the look and the client knows they're using the latest tech. That might be alone. iPhones, similar sort of thing.
Yeah, potentially.
But for me personally, in my role at the moment, I think it'd be quite hard to justify a replacement for this model.
If you are ready for this level of drone, it's fantastic that it's moved on this much, and the capabilities. There is a good few years of use in this Mavic 4, and I can't imagine the next innovation that we're going to need on these things. But again, equally, if I had a Mavic 3 Pro and I was using that more than I use the Air 3S, I'm not sure I would automatically want to spend an upgrade to this. But it is an excellent drone, but then so is the Mavic 3 Pro, and it does depend if you need that ProRes, of course. So overall for me, I think that if you are looking to acquire a 6K capable drone with fantastic lens options already built in, with a very long flight time, then this is certainly a very, very good choice. It isn't cheap, but it certainly delivers. As per the conversation there with producer Will, we're not sure whether or not it's 100% an upgradable thing in terms of upgrade worthy from the Mavic 3 Pro Cine to this, particularly if you're someone that needs to work in Apple ProRes, which of course there are so many of you out there who will need that capability. So I think it's fairly exciting because for once here in the UK, we have a large drone being released that within a few months is going to have some real capability in terms of where you can use it without having to have ridiculously high levels of certification. In fact, if you have a GVC in OA at the moment, you'll be able to fly this drone with just the A2 CFC in the UK closer than you can under your standard OA from January 2026. So that's pretty incredible. And in the meantime, you have this fantastic drone to fly, although of course you'll have to keep the current transitional 50 meters from uninvolved people with a drone of this size. Let me know in the comments if you've got any questions. We will be doing a live Q&A on the drone at some point, so keep an eye out on the channel for that, and we will answer any questions you have. You can come along and I can point the close-up camera at any part of it, or answer any questions you have. We have the full base and extra spec list, so we can tell you about everything that's going on there. So hopefully you found this a little bit interesting, and perhaps a little bit more interesting than us trying to conform to the usual type of reviews. We've actually been posting every single day to our members a new thing which we're calling Member 365. It's going to be a new post every day for a year. We've been going for a few weeks now, and one of those posts we explained that because the awesome people at DJI Hasselblad don't actually pressure us to sell any of these units as such, this drone and others come to us as part of the regulation partnership we have with DJI Hasselblad here in the UK. So that means we're now going to be trying to make some slightly different review videos in terms of focusing more on experience of use. And those videos will be coming up. So if you are new here, do hit subscribe to see our experience of flying this drone out and about and getting the best of it. Thanks for watching. Sean out.